Continue on I left off talking about Sabo. Yes, Sabo. The guy who is Luffy's long-lost brother. When he died 12 years before the series. How did he apparently die? Well, a celestial dragon decided to take a shot at his boat because it was his line of sight. Yep, that was the reason why. So he fired a freaking bazooka at him. Just because he was in his way. I'm like, wow. Such an absolute stupid reason to do that. Yes, celestial dragons are written to be so much of idiots that they think because they're the ones who have founded the world government, though the descendants of founders, they think they have the right to do whatever the heck they want. And the thing is, with the exception of one, all of them are so pig-headed, and they have these special mass bubbles, because apparently outside of the Mary Joe, the air is too good like, everyone's too good to breathe in the same air as they do. Like, wow, it's like, that's the way they're written. I'm not sure exactly who Oda based upon the Celestial Dragons. It's possible he based upon some rich people he may knew, but wow, yes. So, Luffy basically, they don't show it here, but Luffy actually, as soon as he saw Sabo, he jumped on him, gave him a big, humongous hug, crying all over him, and he's like so happy he's alive. He doesn't explain to later how the heck he survived. Yeah, now I'll explain it whenever One Piece gets to that particular portion. So, he disguises himself as Luffy, basically he opens up his shirt, because he has his shirt closed up a lot of the time. Yeah, showing off a six-pack. Also, before I continue about this, now, if you're curious though, who voices Sabo in the anime? Originally, it was Vic Manalia who actually voiced him. Yep, he was the original voice actor for Sabo. Now, you're probably thinking, why did they replace him for? Because of the stupid sexual harassment scandal that happened. Oh, how long ago was this? About 2 or 3 years ago? Yeah, because that scandal, they fired him everything, and they replaced Vic Manalia. Okay, who replaced Vic Manalia as Sabo for One Piece? Quite possibly one of the best voice actors ever, in my opinion, Johnny Bosch. Yep, who gives a sort of very deep voice, very soft-spoken, but I think he does actually a pretty dang good job. Fun fact about this. This is the second time he played the character, because last time he played Sabo, that I can think of, just part of this, I think was in One Piece Stampede. Yes, that was the first time since One Piece Stampede, though. Yeah, that One Piece Stampede was technically the first time Johnny Bosch had played Sabo. I don't know if he played Sabo in the episode of Sabo TV special. I, of course, haven't seen the episode of Sabo, so I don't know if that's true or not. I do know that the guy who voiced He's a Clown, Jeremy Jewell, he actually played the character originally in the episode Sabo, and then played the main anime. But in the case of it may have been Vic Manalia, I don't know. I have to look up later. But Vic Manalia was the original voice actor, but like I said, got replaced. And when you first hear his voice, like, man, that voice sounds familiar. Yeah, it's Johnny Bosch. Yes, I like when he voiced Ichigo from Bleach, where he tends to portray as sort of this over-the-top, very loud guy. A lot of the other characters, he's like very soft. It seems like, though, when you hear him voice Sabo, it's like he's very interesting character, and he makes his character quite interesting. And you see him with Bartholomew, and he pushes Bartholomew aside very gently, and then he acts like he's Bartholomew acts like he's his bodyguard. Yep, and then, of course, well, they meet Rebecca. Now, Rebecca, I forgot to mention that Rebecca, they actually conclude, her story arc was actually included here. Well, her battle in round 4, in block 4, that was simply concluded here. Yeah, it was a pretty brutal battle. And her friend, Attila, she got injured during the fight. I could have sworn she actually turned against her at some point, but nope, she was perfectly fine. Yep, and then she was last seen and hauled off on a stretcher. Now, how the fight ended was quite strange. Yes, they showed in a flashback where apparently Cabbage fell asleep, and then he went on a rampage. A Haidaku was they pronounced this creature. And they mentioned basically the first time it showed up was in a place called Raleigh, which to me looks like frickin' Victorian era London. No joke. It seriously looks like it. Even has, like, of course you can tell if Big Ben is there. Big Ben is kind of typically people think of that clock tower. First place I think of is, well, London. And one thing when I think of Victoria era, aside from the House of Parliament, is the fog. Yes, fog was, a lot of the time people think of Victoria era London. People think of fog a lot of the time because people burn coal. That's what created the fog that people see a lot of the time back to fiction. And apparently this Haja was depicted sort of like this show's version of Jack the Ripper. I am not kidding about that. And apparently, like, everywhere Cavish goes, this thing pops along. Apparently, he shares a body with him. How the heck did the Cavish get this particular ability? As far as I know, is never been explained. And this man took all the gliders except for Rebecca. Rebecca got a little bump on the head, but her body's in great shape. Like, she didn't receive a single scar or anything, just a slight bump on the head. And then she gets up after everybody's like knocked out, and she's proclaimed the winner just because she's the first one to stand up. Almost like a last man standing match. Now, the crowd hated this in the show. And the judge, basically, guy in charge of the competition, he's like, okay, despite the fact our equipment is not exactly up the standards, this is a legit win. He's not going to basically overrule it just because she's, let's just say, very heavily booed. Just because she is the granddaughter of a hated king. A former ruler. So, they allow her to proceed next round. Zero problem. Yeah, she got a small cut on her forehead. I think she still has it, if I'm not mistaken. It's like never brought up at all. But it's like on the side of her head. But I think it's more like in her hairline. But I don't think, like... Now, when she interacts with Sabo, like, he's like, Luffy! Oh, Lucy! And he's like, wait, you're not Lucy. And then he briefly talks like, hey, I know your backstory. And he's very polite to her. Like, Luffy's like very loudmouth, but he's like very polite to her. Which, yeah, that's one thing Sabo has in common with Ace. They are very polite. And act like complete gentlemen. Despite the fact Ace, a lot of the time, never wore a damn shirt. Yes, that's the thing with Ace. Whenever you saw him in the anime, with the exception when he first joined... Just prior to him first joining the Whitebeard Pirates, he did put on a shirt whenever he went to Jump Kingdom, but a lot of the time Ace was shirtless. All I see the guy wear was simply his hat, shorts, and boots. And I'm like, really? You don't put on a hat? Well, at least a shirt? Well, Sabo at least is well dressed. Yeah, that's the thing when it comes to fiction characters in this series. A lot of them tend to wear like regular clothes, but man, Sabo is very sharply dressed. And by appearance-wise, it looks like the same outfit he wore when he was a kid, just more upgraded when he got older. And the hat is still the same, too. Yeah, that's kind of quite interesting about his hat. It's the same exact hat when he wore when he was a kid. The scar on his face is when he described the explosion. When like I mentioned, the Celestial Dragon targeted his ship. And then the thing ends with him and Bartholomew, they call him a different name, walks into the arena. And in the case of Luffy, him, Kinemon, and Zoro, wearing disguises. Kinemon is disguised as a frog, Zoro a cat, and Luffy disguised as a fish. And of course, the female that Zoro ran into, hiding his suit now talks to Luffy. And then they get to the place where the lift is to get inside the palace to go rescue Law. And just by sheer coincidence, Violet is just happily there and provides it with a special entrance. And it's like, oh, are you Straw Hat Luffy? He's like, yep. He's like, don't tell her that. And of course, they talk to her type woman. And of course, further was a princess. Now, this is slight editing from the actual sub. Because Luffy mistakenly referred to Rebecca as Violet's sister. And he had to correct her, say that Violet is her niece. They actually don't do that in the dub. They actually don't have Rebecca mistaken be her sister. Like, they mention that she's the daughter of a younger sister. Like it reminds her of her older sister. And that makes Rebecca, she says, my niece. It's not a correction. She doesn't correct it like she does in the sub, which that I actually do appreciate because I thought that was kind of dumb. The fact that they referred to Rebecca as her younger sister, despite the fact she's actually her niece. And then she unlocks a special passageway, which is only known to the original royal family, the Ryuk family. And the place looks dusty, and of course they come across a cargo basket. And then Zoro comes with the ingenious idea: have Luffy crawl up a wall while carrying the big boulder to hold it up and have the thing brought down. And Violet's like, what? How are you gonna do that? And then she doesn't have the obvious reaction that everyone else does whenever he stretches for the first time. When people see him stretch the first time, she does do, oh my gosh, what? She's basically shocked because of the eye-popping thing that the other characters tend to do in the series. And that's how the thing ends. I gotta hand it, this was actually a really good set of episodes. Now, I have not seen anything released, like no statement from Funimation, of when in the world the next set of episodes supposed to come out. Yeah, I haven't heard anything. Yeah, that's the interesting thing. I have not heard a single thing. Yeah, there's not really much, let's say, like an arc release, like what is going to be the next set of dev episodes. Yeah, that's interesting though. Nothing's released. Like the last couple times we actually have a release date prior to me doing this video. This time, no, there isn't. Yeah, there's no release date for it. I'm like, that's kind of weird. Yeah, let me look it up and see, because I have it saved here. Of the next batch of dub episodes. Ugh. Let's see. Yeah, there's nothing on here like to say exactly when in the world that the next park gets released. Yeah, there's nothing. There's been no article released. Because normally by now they release at least something, but nope, nothing. Not an article, not a damn thing, which I think that's quite strange for this series. Where they just don't have anything really like set to come out. Okay. So apparently it's coming out March 9th. Which, that's interesting. Yes, which means just a couple weeks away. Yes, apparently that's when... Yeah, I just looked it up on the Discord, because usually Discord pretty accurate when it comes to... Let's see. Yeah, so presumably March 9th? Well, probably a week after that, I'm not sure. But sometime next month, per se. That's probably when the next episodes will come out. Yep, so yeah, that's it for this particular review. Stay tuned for my reviews for Doctor Stone, Quintessence Quintuplets, Yoshimi Have Princess, and Fire Force. I'm hoping to get all done tonight. It's simply possible. If not, I will say something for tomorrow, okay? This is the next video. Bye.